So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He created Adam to rule over all the animals. Adam was soon got lonely, and so God gave him a partner named Eve. Eve was tempted by the snake called Satan at the tree of knowledge, and she then tempted Adam to eat it too. After that, they were banished from the Garden of Eden by God because they disobeyed him and went to the tree of knowledge and were found out that they were naked, and etc.
After Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, they had two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain was jealous of Abel because God favored him, because Abel gave his first best, and Cain gave his second best. So he became jealous of him. Then, when no one was looking, he killed him. And when God asked him where his brother was, he said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And then God knew what Cain had done. After seeing what Cain had done, God knew that sooner or later everything will go bad. So he picked a family who has been following his word and doing what is right, and told him to build an ark. His family and two of each animal will have to be on the ark for 40 days and 40 nights. And after that, after everything was done and God flooded the whole earth, he sent a rainbow symbolizing that he would never flood the earth again. And that was a covenant between Noah and God called the Noahic covenant. The Abrahamic covenant is when God made a promise to Abraham, saying he will be a father of a great nation, and he will have more kids countless than the stars. Then, as symbolizing the God's covenant with Abraham, Abraham cut up halves of animals, and a pillar of smoke came out and so acted like he was walking through, symbolizing his covenant.
When the Jews eventually escaped Egypt, God's presence was really known by them. They were able to point out and say He is there because God led them by a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire. As the Jews were being led by a pillar of cloud, they eventually made it to a mountain called Mount Sinai. That is where Moses went up to get the Ten Commandments. God's presence was there as a cloud on top of Mount Sinai. After they left Mount Sinai, they had a portable temple called a tabernacle, and God's presence was in there. In 10,000 BC, as Solomon was king, they built a temple. Solomon's temple, primarily, but it was meant for God. It was God's dwelling place. That is where most people would worship God or praise God to be with Him when they were in need. Eventually, Solomon's temple was destroyed, and so no one knew where God was. No one was able to go praise and worship Him or was able to speak to Him personally. In 521 BC, about the same time the first temple was destroyed, they decided to build a second temple. A temple for the same reasons they used the first one to worship and praise God. But eventually, like the first one, it was destroyed in 70 AD. After the destruction of the second temple, God was no longer confined to a temple. He was actually everywhere. He was inside of us and around us every time, everywhere we go. In the New Testament, a baby is born from a virgin named Mary. The people, not even knowing that they're in the presence of the Son of God, the King himself. For a couple years of Jesus' life, people didn't even notice him. Nobody noticed that he has such great power. It wasn't until that he started to heal people, make the blind see, make the cripple walk again, that they took notice to him and noticed that he was the King, God, the Son of God. Jesus was the perfect example of how we should live. He was a true human being. He has never sinned and never will sin. Jesus went on to live a perfect life. He never sinned at all, and he constantly helped people that were in need. But that soon came to an end when the crucifixion of Jesus came. But that wasn't the last time they would see of Jesus. He later rose 3 days after his crucifixion and appeared in front of thousands of people to let them know he is not dead. He later ascended into heaven, and no one has seen him ever since. Just because God is no longer with us in person doesn't mean he isn't with us spiritually or mentally. He is still with us. He can speak to us whether we're at home, in the church, or just in public, speaking to him under our breath, praying to him about our problems. God will never leave us, and he will stay with us forever.
I am God, and this is the Garden of Eden. Look at those beautiful flowers I created, and all the grass and the dirt. I am lonely. I need to create someone in my own image. Boom. Boom. He looks just like me. It's like my own image. I'm looking in the mirror. It's beautiful. I'm the snake. I'm the devil.